In this video, we're going to be giving our best budget headphone awards of 2025. All of the headphones featured today are under $200 and as low as under $50. We're going to be choosing a winner for the following categories, including best comfort, best bass headphones, best noise canceling performance, best sound quality, and the best overall under $50, $100, $200, and the best overall values. Here at recordingnow.com, we've purchased and tested over 40 wireless over-ear headphones. So this video is going to choose our very best picks in the budget category, and to my surprise, there are some absolute bangers in the lower price categories that would surprise you. Now, real quick, the way this video is going to work is I'm actually going to have two screens. One is going to be the desk cam to bring up the relevant headphone that's being featured. We have most of these in the studio, but some of them may not be here. In the other screen, we're actually going to pull up the current price on Amazon. Now, it's important to note that Black Friday deals actually started today, the 20th. So you're going to see a lot of pricing that is going to say Black Friday deal. Now, if you miss out on a specific pricing that is limited, I recommend that you check it again, especially on the actual Black Friday date itself, which is the 28th. To make it easier for you, I'm actually going to link a full blog post in the video description and in the pinned comment below. That's going to feature updated pricing and links to all of the best deals featured in this video. In addition, we're going to have links to Amazon in the video description and in the pinned comment. And one pro tip here, if you want to save even more money, consider shopping for Renewed for any of these headphones. Lastly, please like, comment, and hype this video up if you want to help support the channel. So starting with best comfort, we have one of my absolute favorite headphones in the budget category, which is the Sony WH-CH720N, which we'll just refer to as 720 for the rest of this video because it's going to be featured a lot. So as you can see here, the 720 is going for $88 as a part of a Black Friday deal. When it comes to comfort, this is actually the lightest over-ear headphone that we have tested to date. They feel kind of like a toy because of that cheap build quality, but in terms of comfort, there's nothing better. Now, the second most comfortable headphone is the Bose Quiet Comfort, which is currently going for just $199. It's a little heavier than the 720, but has better build quality while having really nice ear cups and cushioning. And the other two most comfortable headphones also come from Sony, which would be the Ultwear at $148 and the XM4, which you can't really find new easily. So for Renewed, you're looking at $160. These are the most comfortable headphones in this class. Now, moving on to the category of best headphones for bass, for all my bass lovers out there. So we're starting with two Skullcandies. We have the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2 going for just under $130 and the Skullcandy Crusher Evo for just under $100. The reason why Skullcandy wins in the bass category is because these are like having subwoofers attached to your ears using that Crusher technology that basically has this sensory vibration where these headphones will actually shake your head and really kind of rattle you, which is simply a sensation that's not offered by other headphones. I know it sounds a little gimmicky, but it is very fun, especially if you are a bass head. Also, the Black Friday deals for the Crusher Evo and for the ANC2 is really good because sometimes these headphones can cost over $200, especially the ANC2. This is the kind of price that I think is really justified for these two pairs of headphones. Coming back to the Ultwear, this is actually described as a massive bass heavy headphone, and I will agree that the bass response is quite satisfying and impactful with just a lot of quantity. But don't sleep on the Ultwear, it still has some pretty good detail in the treble as well. It's not just a totally drowned out mess. And lastly, one surprise contender in this class is the Sennheiser Momentum 4, which is actually available for just under $200. If you follow this channel for any amount of time, you know how big of a fan we are of the Momentum 4, which competes with headphones costing twice as much. We're talking $400, $500 and beyond. We'll talk more about the Momentum 4 later, but just know it is one of the best bass response, especially for audiophiles. All right, so moving on to the best noise canceling performance. Now, this is actually one feature where I realized that the more expensive headphones in the $300 plus range tend to have much better noise canceling on average. That said, there are some absolute hidden gems that do compete with the more expensive headphones, starting with the Sony Ultwear. Now, what surprises me about the Sony Ultwear is I actually found its noise canceling to be on par or at least competitive with something like the more premium Sony XM5. Another one of the headphones that is an honorable mention or runner up in this category is the Sony XM4. Now, me personally, I actually prefer the Ultwear to the XM4 in many ways. I consider the Ultwear to be almost like an enhanced version of the XM4, more modernized. It is newer, whereas the XM4 is now discontinued, and noise canceling is one of those categories where I found it to be very competitive, if not superior. The other best headphone for noise canceling is is the Bose Quiet Comfort. Now, I have the Quiet Comfort Ultra 2nd Gen here as a placeholder because we don't have the QC in the studio right now. That said, the Quiet Comfort is actually more on par with the more expensive QC Ultra 1st Gen, and Sony and Bose just know what they're doing when it comes to the noise canceling, especially when we're comparing with the more budget options, sub $200. Like I said, the XM4 is still one of the most competitive for noise canceling today. I do think it has been surpassed by the newer XM5 and the XM6, but if we're talking in this budget class, this is one of the best noise canceling you can get. Now, one interesting honorable mention is the Sennheiser Momentum 4, which in the class of $300 plus flagship premium headphones, a lot of people complain about the performance of the Momentum 4. Personally, I find that when you compare to the more budget headphones that tend to have a lot weaker noise canceling, the Momentum 4 actually starts to look pretty good or perform pretty well, and I personally find the noise canceling to be serviceable even for flights, which is good enough for me. Now, another honorable mention I want to make for noise canceling is the JBL Tune 770NC. This is going for just under $80 as part of a Black Friday deal, and this headphone has actually really surprised me as an all-arounder. The noise canceling is actually quite effective, especially for the price. My only gripe with the Tune 770NC is its comfort. It has some of the smallest ear cups in terms of this diameter. They almost feel a little bit more like on ears as opposed to over ears, and they have quite a strong clamping force, which makes its comfort some of the worst that I've tested. That said, the noise canceling is very competitive for the money, and you're going to see more of this very soon. All right, moving on to the best sound quality. Straight up, the Sennheiser Momentum 4 takes the cake. Like I said, it competes with headphones costing twice as much and being available for under $200 as part of this sale. This is a must buy in my opinion if you're an audiophile looking for the best sound quality in this price range, bar none. If you want to take things up another level, apply the EQ found on recordingnow.com for these, which has received a lot of good reviews. Add in a USB dongle to unlock aptX adaptive codec to get higher resolution, and you're simply listening to one of the best wireless noise canceling setups available today, especially for the money. So next we have the Bose Quiet Comfort 2023, the regular model. This is a headphone that if you apply a little bit of EQ and even out of the box is pretty consumer friendly and most people would enjoy its bass heavy sound, but I do find its sound quality to be a little bit in a cut above the budget class of headphones. Again, this is a headphone that regularly costs closer to $300 but is now available for under $200. It simply competes in a different class, more so against headphones like the Momentum 4 as opposed to the more budget options. Now, interestingly, third for sound quality, I actually really like the JBL Tune 770NC. We just put it up there for having some of the best noise canceling in the budget class, especially for under $100. But what surprised me the most is actually its sound quality, especially applying a little bit of EQ, and I have settings that are going to be on the website. I was simply blown away with how good the Tune 770NC sounds with a little bit of EQ applied, plus they have a pretty advanced EQ inside the JBL app. Simply put, this sound quality does compete with headphones costing 2 to 3 times as much, especially when it's only $80 right now. Lastly, to round out the sound quality section, we have the baby Momentum 4, which is the Sennheiser Accentum, available for just under $100. Now, make no mistake, the Accentum doesn't really compete when it comes to the audiophile technicalities of the big brother, the Momentum 4. This is very much a budget headphone, both in its build quality and it takes a step back in terms of the sound, but again, apply a little bit of EQ that I use to try and get it to sound a little bit more like the Momentum 4, and you do hear a little bit of that DNA that makes Sennheiser headphones sound so good. And under $100, this is simply an easy buy, especially for those who are looking for sound quality for the dollar. Now, I want to give 2 honorable mentions for sound quality. First is going to be the Ultware. I know it is marketed as a bass heavy headphone, but honestly, it's more balanced than you would think. I think it sounds much better than the Sony XM4 even, and actually competes more so with the Sony XM5. And lastly, the Sony 720 is not a perfect headphone when it comes to its sound quality. It does sound a little compressed. It doesn't really have that super high resolution, but in terms of its tuning and its default sound signature, which is very exciting, lively, detailed, and very vocal forward, simply put, it's one of the best stock tuning for these headphones, especially for the budget class. And I do have an EQ to improve that sound quality, that tonality a little bit better, make it just a little bit more balanced, and these are simply one of my favorite headphones to listen to, despite having lower technical sound quality. Now let's move on to the best overall headphones under $50, and these are 2 really strong contenders. So first, we're starting with the JBL Tune 720 BT. Now, I know this looks exactly like the Tune 7 770NC we featured a lot earlier. But basically, this is a non-noise canceling headphone. Right now, the price is just under $45, but the sound quality of these is really remarkable for the price. This is actually one of the best selling headphones on Amazon. As you can see here, there's over 10,000 bought and sold in the past month alone. And for good reason, I absolutely think it deserves it. But just note, no noise canceling here if you're looking for that. And the other contender in the sub $50 range, especially on sale right now, is the Soundcore Q30 by Anker. Honestly, these are a noise canceling headphone that packs a punch in terms of features. It also has a hard shell case. It's really hard to find a more complete package. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of its sound quality or its noise canceling. But that said, at this price, I simply cannot complain. There's not really much competition here. So I do recommend you check out the Q30, and we're going to talk about a little more, and soon we're going to bring up another Soundcore by Anker model that I do highly recommend a little bit more than the Q30. Now let's move on to the best budget headphones under $100. At number one, I have the Sony 720. You've heard me gush about these a little bit earlier in this video, but there's just something special about the lightweight comfort and just that sound quality when it comes to that really special tuning that just makes music so enjoyable to listen to. Now, these don't have the best noise canceling or the best build quality due to that super lightweight, but simply put, as a whole, these are probably my favorite headphone under $100. Next, we have the JBL Tune 770NC, which is actually a little bit cheaper than the 720, and to be honest, when it comes to the sound quality and the noise canceling performance, it is superior to the 720. That said, that comfort is what really holds this headphone back for me. I'm telling you that these ear cups being so small are going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people. Your ears might not even fit within here, and that clamping force is just so much pressure. It's simply not in the same level of comfort as the Sony 720 and so many of these other headphones. In fact, it's probably the worst comfort here. And third, in the sub $100 range, we have the Sennheiser Accentum, aka the Baby Momentum 4. Now, not the best build quality. There's something about the plastic here that makes these feel like 3D printed. You can clearly tell this is much cheaper than the Momentum 4 from like a materials and feel standpoint. And although the sound quality is also not as good as the Momentum 4, not on that same level, I think if you apply a little bit of EQ, these are one of the most enjoyable headphones to listen to under $200, period. All right, so moving on to the premium under $200 category for best overall, we have to start with the Sennheiser Momentum 4. Honestly, to see it brand new for under $200, to me, this is a no-brainer. This is the best headphone in this class overall. The number one reason is going to be the sound quality, but it is superior to most of these sub $200 headphones in terms of noise canceling, build quality. It has amazing battery life at 60 hours. And overall, it's simply just a more premium headphone than many of these super plastic, super cheap headphones in this class. And number two, we have the Ultwear, which, you know, back to back with the Momentum 4 does feel considerably cheaper when I'm feeling these hinges and the plastic. But when it comes to the noise canceling performance and that sound quality, this is easily one of the best pairs here and one of the most surprising headphones that I've ever tested, especially considering its price. I really think this is a successor to the XM4 and better in almost every way. And for under $150, it's hard to find a better overall package. And last but not least, we do have the Bose Quiet Comfort. Again, because that is a headphone that typically competes with headphones costing $300, $400. Being available for $200 just presents it as a really good value because it really is similar to a premium headphone like the Momentum 4 in terms of its build quality, its comfort, its noise canceling, and its sound quality is just in a cut above most of the budget headphones. Okay, so finally, we want to talk about the best dollar value overall. Like I mentioned in the previous section, the Momentum 4 is really supposed to compete with much more expensive headphones, so it being available for under $200 easily makes it the best value overall, in my opinion. Despite being twice the price of some of these headphones, I do think it's worth it. Next, the Ultwear at $148 has that combination of elite noise canceling performance and pretty good sound quality, which is just very rare to find in this price range. Third, I'm actually going to give it to the Sony 720 at $88. This is not a perfect headphone, as you've heard me say. It's not number one in any category other than its comfort and being the lightest weight, but I think that very charming sound quality combined with that comfort, and it does have noise canceling, although it is one of the lesser performing in terms of its noise canceling performance. I do think the JBL Tune 770NC is superior there for roughly the same money, but this is a headphone that feels like a toy, but is actually something that I really enjoy using on a daily basis as an actual product as a whole, and for $88, you can't go wrong. Then we have to give a shout out to the JBL Tune 770NC, which does perform very well for both its sound quality and its noise canceling performance. But for me, the comfort is what really holds it back. Some people may find it more comfortable, but I'm just warning you now. That said, for under 80 bucks, it's really hard to beat this as an all-arounder. Now, to round out the video, I want to give a couple more honorable mentions that are absolutely worth checking out. The first one is going to be the Soundcore by Anker Space Q45. I find this headphone to be much superior to the cheaper Q30 in terms of its sound quality and its noise canceling performance, but it is a very similar headphone to the Q30, just superior, hence the price difference, and now you can find them for under $80. It's a really great overall package, including a hard shell case as well, which is rare for this class. And lastly, one headphone I want to bring up. Now, this is the Beats Studio 3, but we have reviewed the Beats Studio Pro before. There is an insane deal for $140 for the Beats Studio Pro, which in my opinion is like an AirPods Max Lite if you're in the Apple ecosystem. On paper, it has a lot of the exact same features and that Apple seamless connectivity, switching between Apple devices. It has okay sound quality and okay noise canceling performance, especially when compared to the more premium flagship models. But when you compare it to the cheaper budget headphones under $200, it actually becomes more competitive. And at $140, I mean, that's actually a great value, especially again if you're in the Apple ecosystem. All right, so that wraps up our best budget headphone awards of 2025. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you found this useful, hit the thumbs up button. Again, if you could hype this video up, it would help our small channel so much. Remember, Black Friday is still around the corner, so we're going to have links to the deals page and also where there is updated pricing on the website recordingnow.com. Make sure you use the affiliate links in the video description or in the pinned comment to access any of the deals that you see here. It also really goes a long way to help support the channel and our mission to keep these reviews honest, unbiased, and we have more headphone and earbud content on the way, so make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay tuned. Now, if you want to keep doing research to help you make a more informed purchase, I'm going to link a relevant video and playlist here so you can keep watching. Take care and happy listening.